welcome to Anime Audio Commentary. Today I'll be commenting on episode 12 of Spy Family. If you'd like to watch along, then start watching now. So, last episode we got a little teaser about Anya trying to get a dog and all that, and a potential dog. But based off of the preview at the end of the episode, it seems like we're not picking up that story. It just seems like a little bit of a weird thing to me that we're not immediately continuing that, considering that this is the last episode of the season. You know, there's going to be more Spy Family, but they're just... I guess they're taking a season off for the time being. Now, if I'm remembering correctly, this episode's based off of like a small bonus chapter from the first manga volume, I believe, where Lloyd basically gets like an extra mission, so he sort of takes the family on an outing while also undertaking the mission. I mean, it was mostly like a small, fluffy chapter that doesn't really impact the overall story, but it was a nice little thing. Seems like Lloyd is having a rather explosive mission. Okay, I think I remember what's going on. Basically, the agency he works for is short-staffed, so he's getting a bunch of missions on the side. You know, obviously Operation Strix is his top priority, but, you know, at the same time, some other more immediate things need to be taken care of. You know, he's saying discretion is the first rule of espionage, but I would say they're not being particularly discreet talking out in the open like that. So this episode almost seems like a recap episode. It's sort of recounting things. You know, going over the basic plot about how Anya's a mind reader, Lloyd's not really a doctor, but Yor thinks he is. It's probably going to tell us about how Yor is an assassin. Yep, there we go. My superpower of basic pattern recognition is in full force here. I not to rag on the production team or anything, but I feel like this would have been a better first episode for the second half of the season. But I can only assume there was some sort of production reason why they didn't do that. I don't know. It's interesting because considering how much they're recapping and sort of reminding the viewer of what's going on, it seems like it would have been better after, I guess, a hiatus for want of a better term, a break in the broadcast. So it seems like things aren't so well, reputationally speaking. All those old women are gossiping about the Forger family and how, they never see them all three together, so the husband's probably cheating or he's been fired or something other disgraceful. If there's one thing I really hate, it's gossipy old women. They cause all kinds of problems and face no repercussions for it. And you know what? As often as not, they're basically just wrong. I also like how Anya's artistic ability is marginally better when she's drawing a penguin with a gun than when she's drawing a cow. She has her priorities in order, I guess. So I guess because of all these factors, Lloyd has decided, it's time to do something as a family, if only to keep up appearances. Unfortunately for Lloyd, it would appear as though his employers are working him to the bone, even though they want to spend time together. Man, those women are even just saying it right to Lloyd's face, oh, we don't see you all together. None of your business. I suppose it doesn't help that Anya's answering very, very robotically about how normal her family is. Man, that's not suspicious at all, Anya. Of course, I suppose she's hearing what the women are thinking and wants to, I guess, change their mind. So, as if it weren't bad enough that Lloyd has to keep up appearances, and that is rather important, he's also receiving another mission. So naturally, Lloyd's argument is going to be something along the lines of, this is very important to the mission I've currently got. I can't do another one. But on the other hand, government agent types are often very pushy. As fate or plot convenience would have it, the new mission is going to be at the aquarium, which he just happens to be headed to. I really like how Lloyd's not letting up. He wants coffee and juice, he came to get drinks, he's not taking the mission. On the other hand, it appears to be some sort of terroristic bomb plot. So on the other hand, Lloyd can't really just sit around and let that go. So there's this nice little juxtaposition here where Anya's really enjoying herself, but Lloyd is dreading the mission. I feel kind of bad for him. Now I feel really bad for him because that old bat from before is here. I feel really bad for Lloyd. Yor just invites that old bat along to hang out with them. You know, she sees it as keeping up a good relationship with the neighbors. More's the pity. Yor'd probably be taking care of the problem. She just killed her. So according to the informant, it seems like the crux of this whole mission is that a penguin has been made to swallow something in order to smuggle it in. So the trouble is, Anya really likes penguins, and Lloyd's gonna have to do some funny business with a particular penguin. Which one it is not quite clear, so I imagine things will get kinda hairy. So, this really does present a big issue considering there's a couple dozen penguins and he doesn't have time to search them all. I imagine searching would be a pretty arduous process too on a penguin. Yeah, he's almost sort of like showing off how tense he is. Yor just chalks it up as, boy, he must like penguins, but Anya really knows what's going on. So once again, Anya's powers are sort of working as the plot demands. It's very difficult, but she can in fact read the minds of a penguin. Yeah, I think it's interesting how Anya can occasionally be surreptitious when necessary. She points out to Lloyd, hey, that penguin looks sick. And he puts two and two together. The penguin's sick. It's dry heaving and drinking a lot of water, so maybe it swallowed something. That's probably the penguin with the thing that got smuggled in. So once again, Lloyd uses his fantastic Master of Disguise powers to, pretend to be a worker at the zoo and feed penguins. I guess the idea here is he's gonna, feed some of the penguins, find the sick penguin, and just abduct him to extract whatever the smuggled item was. So interestingly, the guy at the aquarium is making a big deal about knowing all the penguins by name. Fortunately for Lloyd, he has, a really good memory and is able to essentially memorize all of the penguins in an instant. So unfortunately for Lloyd, he hasn't counted on the fact that all the penguins really, really want some fish, and they're just going to swarm him and prevent him from getting to the particular penguin he needs to. So it seems like Lloyd has memorized all sorts of information about feeding the penguins, who needs to eat what, and how much of each fish, and all that. It seems like there's a whole lot of science to this penguin business, much more than one would inherently think, because given my mild zoological knowledge, penguins are kind of like dumb. They just eat fish, and there's not much more to it than that, but what do I know, really? So unfortunately for Lloyd, he was interrupted by a rather suspicious-looking guy. He might ostensibly be the veterinarian, but, well, this would happen. He's a professor of marine biology. But I don't think that would necessarily make him fit to handle the penguin. As fate would have it, Lloyd has the expertise to know that that ID was a fake. So I guess his job's a little bit easier in that he's found the terrorist, but at the same time he's getting away. And he has to maintain his cover while holding onto a squirming penguin. I'd imagine that's not easy in the best of times. So unbeknownst to Yor and Anya, this whole thing's going on, they're just enjoying the aquarium. Now, I said unbeknownst to them, but, Anya's latched onto the villain and is pretending to be kidnapped in order to get Yor to just kill the man. I know he's a bad guy, but, that probably killed him. Kicked him in the jaw so hard his head was embedded in the ceiling. That's a dead man right there. It's very cunning of Anya to pretend to be getting kidnapped by latching onto the guy. So at this point, those gasping women are openly gossiping about how Lloyd's having an affair. I hate people like that. So Lloyd's come up with a cover story here. He got a big penguin plush. The idea being he spent a whole lot of time guessing all the names of all the penguins in order to win it. Man, it's nice the woman's admitting she's wrong, but to openly accuse Lloyd of having an affair to his wife. Just... What a horrible person. So I guess, despite how tired and ragged he's been run, at least Lloyd has essentially accomplished all three of his goals, I think that's worth the golf clap. It's a pretty busy day where you foil a terroristic plot, get your neighbors to think better of you, and then also have a good day with your kid. I guess as a side effect, Lloyd's also improved that guy's life. The guy he was pretending to be is now, I guess, promoted at work. So now Anya's playing a little game of make-believe here. She has her own spy organization, which all of her stuffed animals are now a part of. Naturally, peanuts play a very important role in being inducted into the agency. Oh, Agent Penguin Man. I'm sure he's going to do some good work. I also like how she's roped in Lloyd and Yor into this as well. she's depressingly accurate about everyone's attributes. You know, Lloyd's good at everything, Yor's really strong but bad at everything. Feel kind of bad for her. She's been pigeonholed. I think this is also fairly representative of how children think, in that she's giving her new stuffed animal a big tour of the house. I also like how she considers it, you know, her mother and father's room to be the best kept secret, and that once you know, you likely won't return alive. Of course, it's probably true more than she realizes with all of the spy and assassin equipment in there. So it seems like at the very least, Lloyd and Yor are in agreement about not going in there, albeit for their own separate reasons. It seems like Anya's actually acting like a kid, and, you know, unintentionally she seemed to have wrapped Lloyd and Yor into this whole business. Even going out in public and skulking around, indulging Anya. I guess to the outside world, you know, they just like a happy family, but to Lloyd, this is unfortunately conspicuous behavior. Alright, that's it for this episode. If you've enjoyed it, then by all means, tune in for the next one. See you, Space Cowboy.